Another blow for the restaurant industry, the President announcing that establishments will only be allowed to sell takeaways over the next 2 weeks. This is in an effort to help bring down the ever-increasing number of people getting infected with the coronavirus. The restaurant industry has been hard hit by lockdown measures over the last year. Wendy Alberts from the Restaurant Association joins me now. Wendy, I can feel your pain from here and that of tens of thousands of other people who are going to be affected.
Absolutely. While we understand that there are very difficult decisions that needed to be made, I think one of the most concerning parts for me sitting here today is the lack of ability of government to have effectively consulted with us. Yet again, we're the industry that's been hit the hardest. We have the most amount of protocols, the most amount of regulations. And again, for the last 2 weeks, we've been suggesting a ton of opportunities to be able to implement into our businesses to further keep our doors from being shut. The most concerning part for me is who's actually representing the restaurant industry. The Minister of Tourism is now sharing across portfolios. We need some form of representation and somebody who is passionately involved and who cares about the industry as much as what we do. 14 days in our industry is decimation. 14 days in our life is a year in somebody else's life. And we are constantly always at the trim of being remodeled, closed, reformed, or dissected. And again, I keep asking, if we are the cause of the super spread of COVID, why hasn't the vaccination been expedited to the frontline staff that work in the restaurants? We are constantly, critically, always put on hold, and we're always the people that are having to take responsibility for the rapid spread of COVID, yet we're still waiting for the scientific evidence and the data to be presented to us to show how we are responsible, that we're always the business industry that needs to be remodeled at every turn.
Other than the education sector, it seems that nobody was spoken to or addressed your concerns when it comes to what's happening at the moment. I mean, he says that takeaways are still allowed. I should imagine that's nowhere near enough.
If anybody really understood our business and had ever worked in a restaurant, they'd understand that to remodel the business costs money. And we've come from 14 months of carrying accumulated debt that we're still trying to pay off. Now to go into a proportional small amount of opportunity to try and remodel our businesses into takeaways. And we still got the challenges of the third-party delivery costs. We still got debt to pay back. We still got bank loans to pay back. We still now have to go into discussions again with the landlords. There's absolutely no conversation surrounding TERS. And the beautiful people who work in our industry are vulnerable. They again are now going to have to be put on unpaid layoff, and it stands a chance again of 500, 600,000 people potentially losing their jobs. And what we've learned through conversation of government is that it never is 14 days. It always goes on for a longer period of time. We also know that the imminent shutdown never allows us to plan effectively or to actually trade out the stock that we've got or to be able to manage our finances in a resourceful way to keep us afloat for the next couple of days. And the thing I think that makes me that breaks or was most heartbreaking for us is that we constantly reach out to government and we say, we're here, we respect you, President Ramaphosa, we understand that there are decisions that you need to make. Work with us so that we can support you by having the least amount of economical impact on our industry. And yet again, the complete lack of engagement, consultation, respect for the jobs, the livelihoods, the contribution to the GDP, the tax-paying incentives that we do have just been turned blind to us. And we're out cold. We've been left alone. And we certainly do have not anybody to turn to advocate for us. And we need to ask the Minister of Tourism to immediately engage with the industry, to stand up for the industry that is actually her industry, and do everything we can to bring the business back to life, to get the doors open, to bring the scientific evidence, to find the solutions surrounding this, and to allow our businesses to trade and not to remodel ourselves again.
Utterly devastating. Wendy Alberts from the Restaurant Association, thank you. Still to come on.